Abraham, I'm new to your work, and I feel like I'm missing something. I hear that you say that our feeling is our guidance system. And when something's off, we look to a positive thought to bring us back into the vortex. I have lots of thoughts. I have a very active mind. And I have a mind that watches my active thoughts and sometimes say, wow, where did that come from? Or I might get interested in it and start following it along. Where is the thoughts that I'm taking to put me into the vortex? Am I changing these thoughts that are just randomly coming in? Or is
you're choosing them, but this is a really interesting conversation because you're choosing them by your chronic or active propensity to think. In other words, when we say, think a thought, what we really mean is focus. Imagine an emotional scale that has joy and appreciation on one end and true discomfort on the other, like fear or disempowerment, and some of everything in between. And if you've been focused upon something that is causing you to feel discouraged, then that subject has more or less trained you into a vibration of discouragement.
It's like a habit.
It is exactly a habit. All a belief is a habit of thought.
I'm watching that habit.
It's a thought you keep thinking, which only means that's the easiest thought to think. Those are the events that law of attraction is serving up to you, because law of attraction is giving you that which is close to where you are vibrationally. So if you are just an observer, as you say, you're not just an observer, but you are acknowledging that often you're observing.
Yes.
As you are observing the situation, or even observing the thoughts that you're thinking in response to the situation, what's happening is you're just shoring up that pattern of thought. So a deliberate thinker or a deliberate creator is one who thinks the thought but feels the vibrational indicator of what that thought means. In other words, we said earlier that your emotions, the reason that they work is because they give you relational feedback on the thought that you're thinking and the thought that your inner being is thinking on the same subject. So if you're thinking a thought that is causing you to feel discouragement, what that means is the way you're looking at it is way different than the way the source within you is looking at it. If you're thinking a thought that makes you feel overwhelmed, you're looking at it in a way that's way different than the source within you is looking at it. Now, your inner being can't modify law of attraction to help you. Your inner being can't think for you. All your inner being can do is think the thought the way your inner being thinks the thought, which means you get to feel the alignment or not of the way you're thinking, which means you now have the opportunity to make a decision to think a different thought. Here's where what you're looking for is. If you make the decision to think a different thought based upon the feeling feedback you're getting, it's way easier than if you decide to think a thought by exploring all the possible thoughts to think.
Got it, right.
So if you say, oh, this feels off, I don't know why, and I don't care why, and I don't need to know why, this just feels off. What could I think that feels more on? As you start leaning into more optimism, you might even have to change the subject altogether. But as you find a feeling within yourself that feels better, what begins to happen is the thoughts then begin to gravitate around that. Esther began playing a game. She asked us to help her because she can feel a new process in the work. So she woke up one morning feeling overwhelmed because she'd been working on her things to do today list right before she went to bed, and they were leaving on a long road trip, and she just had a lot to do. So she went to bed feeling overwhelmed, and she woke up feeling overwhelmed. It's always the way that it is. It was about too much to do. It was about people not helping her. It was about people that should be willing to help her not even being at work today. It was about the universe conspiring to make life harder for her. It was about her irritation with people who had it easier than her. her irritation at Jerry, who was just bipping along doing what he always does, exactly what he wants to do, while she had to do the stuff that needed to be done. In other words, that's where her thoughts were. They were about overwhelmment and blame and revenge. It was a dark morning. And then she got a whiff of the way she felt. And she consciously thought, this is not who I am. This is not how I like to feel. This is not how I choose to feel. I'm going to think some different thoughts. So she reached for a different thought, but couldn't get it. She reached for a different thought, but couldn't get it. Oh man, I'm dug in deep, she thought. I'm sure it's Jerry's fault. So, he's so damn happy. So she reached for a better thought, couldn't find it. Reached for a better thought, couldn't find it. Then she thought, I know what to do. I'll meditate. No thought is easier than this. So she sat, set a timer, listened to the condenser in the air conditioner, and managed to detach for about 10 minutes from the active vibration, just detached from it. So she came back into full consciousness, and she's over here in appreciation. And then she thought another thought of appreciation. And then she thought a thought of optimism. And then she thought another thought of appreciation. And then she wondered where Jerry was, and she went right back over just for a moment. And then she thought, wait a minute, I know how to do this. He's not doing anything that he shouldn't be doing. I want him to be doing exactly what he's doing. I'm the facilitator in our family. I know what to do. I've made my list. I like doing this. The reason he's laying low is because he gets in the way when he doesn't lay low. I've sort of trained him to get out of the way. Get out of the way or you'll get run over by the golf cart as I'm moving from place to place. And she brought herself back. And so the first half an hour of her morning, she couldn't get from that spot. But after meditation, it was easy for her to stay over there where she belongs. Now, Esther has been hanging out in the better feeling part of the emotional scale for a while. And it's not often that she gets so overwhelmed. She calls it the 1, 2, 3 punch, where just so many things seem to converge at the same time. And we are always there to remind her that all convergence is converging around the set point that you have established. And if you will decide to make it an emotional set point rather than a thinking set point, it goes ever so much easier for you. So then Esther discovered that she could put herself in the mode like she was going to meditate, but instead of thinking no thought, she could then choose a thought on the emotional scale that is pleasing to her. She focused upon the word ease and flow. Ease and flow. And as she just relaxed into the feeling of what ease feels like, effortless. Ease feels like a cooperative universe. Ease feels like doors opening. Ease feels like good timing. Ease feels like being in the right place at the right time. Ease feels like fun. Ease feels like invigoration in the sense that things are happening around you without your efforting. Ease and flow, ease and flow. And then she discovered that she could focus upon the words ease and flow and get her juices really flowing. And then the thoughts that began to gravitate around those words, which were emotional triggers, really brought lots of good feeling thoughts to her, you see. You do like to think. You are good with words. You are a wordsmith. You like to communicate. You like to let people know how you feel. And so does Esther. And what we are suggesting to both of you is talk all the time, because it's good for people as long as you're in the vortex.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the vortex, be really quiet. And go immediately to meditation.
Thank you. Got it.
We want to ask all of you, do you believe us when we say that when you are experiencing contrast of, let's say, sickness or something less than you want with your physical body, that you send an equal and proportionate request for wellness? Do you believe that? Yes. And so If you believe that, as the larger part of you now is weller than it was before you got sick, can you accept that if you could just get into the vortex where the wellness is, you'd be well? You don't have to drag the sickness in there and heal it. That's really an important distinction. You don't have to fix what's broken. In other words, the vibration of the question and the vibration of the answer are different. The vibration of the problem and the vibration of the solution are different. The vibration of the sickness and the vibration of the healing are different. And so many people are so focused on the problem or the question or the sickness that they use that as their reason not to get in the vortex, where if you could just let go of those reasons and get in, watch a cat that's having a good day and get in. Jerry and Esther's neighbor's cat wants to live with them. And spends almost all day on their porch looking in, saying, "Aren't I cute? Don't you like me? Wouldn't you really like to pet me? Wouldn't you really like to give me something to eat? Wouldn't you really like to take a walk with me?" In other words, that cat is just joy oozing. Esther has attracted the cat because she loves happy beasts. And so here's this cat just happying around. Really a wonderful, easy thing to use as an excuse to get into a vortex. There are so many easy reasons to get into the vortex, but you have to let go of that flawed premise that you've been carrying around for a long time, which is, I have to ferret out my problem. I have to shine a spotlight on it. I have to get it identified and confirmed by many other experts. I have to write about it to everyone I know. I have to take complete ownership of it. I have to practice the complete vibration of it. I have to become an absolute vibrational match to it, and then I have to take hold of it in some way and drag it to a place that it will never be allowed to go. And we say, just let it go. It isn't you. It isn't you. Just let it go. Those problems, they are not you. They are the catalyst that gave you a bounce, but they no longer represent you. Go to who you are. Go to where you are. Feel the fullness of who you are and watch all of that stuff just fall away, fall away. It will fall away instantaneously in terms of your emotion or mood. And once you hang around in the vortex for a while, it will fall away in terms of all manifestations. And people will say, "Hey, where'd that go?" You say, "What? What? I have no idea what you're even talking about." Now what? It is delicious to come together with those like you who are coming to know who you are. We really want you to know that from our vantage point, we see you here in this room as having moved in your emotional scale into the place where you are in the vicinity and in the vicinity and in your vortex. Watch for the evidence of that. The fastest way to make things that you've been wanting to happen is to not care that they haven't been happening. In other words, just lighten up, chill out, have more fun, be easier about it. There is great love here for you. And we remain, as always, eternally in the vortex.
Wow, it's been great, folks. Good to see all of you. Say thank you to Esther one more time, would you please? See you downstream.